Hello and welcome, my dear friend. There's a moment in the spiritual realm that's rarely talked about. It's not about blessings falling into your lap. It's about when God moves directly into someone else's life because of what they did to you. And I'm not talking about petty revenge or human-level payback. I'm talking about a holy rebalancing, a shift that heaven itself initiates, so that a wrong is no longer allowed to stand. See, God keeps better records than we do. Every conversation you weren't in the room for, every moment you were misrepresented, every seed of doubt they planted about you, every quiet action they took that they thought no one would notice. You may have let it slide. You may have even convinced yourself it wasn't worth the fight. But God never let it leave His sight. Here's the thing. He's not moving because He's angry in the way we get angry. He's moving because there's a bigger picture you can't always see from here. He knows that certain patterns, if left unchecked, grow roots too deep. And sometimes, the only way to protect His plan for you is to interrupt theirs. And that's what's happening now. Somewhere, in a conversation you can't hear, there's a moment of realization hitting them like a flash of lightning. Somewhere, in the privacy of their own thoughts, they're feeling a weight they can't explain. That's God, not punishing just to punish, but sending a wake-up call. It's like when a storm passes over a dry field. To you, it might look like just rain. But in the soil, deep down, entire systems shift. Nutrients move, roots adjust, life reorganizes itself to survive. That's what's happening in their life right now. God is reorganizing things, pulling apart what they built on lies, rewriting the script they were trying to control, and you might not see it on their face. They may still post pictures, still talk confidently, still act like nothing's wrong. But the shift isn't always visible to the crowd. It's visible in the spiritual record. And that record is changing in your favor. Because here's what you need to remember. This isn't about them getting what's coming in some shallow way. This is about heaven protecting what's yours. You've been walking in faith, even when it hurt, even when your name was dragged through shadows you didn't deserve. And every time you stayed quiet instead of retaliating, that wasn't weakness. That was a deposit into a spiritual account you didn't even know you had. And now, the withdrawal has begun. Not into your bank account just yet, but into your life account. Into the relationships, the opportunities, the clarity you've been waiting for. I want you to picture something for a moment. Imagine you're in a huge theater. You've been sitting in the dark, watching the stage, waiting for your part in the story. Behind the curtain, there's been chaos. People whispering, swapping scripts, changing props, trying to decide what scene comes next. And then, a door opens. The director walks in. He doesn't yell. He doesn't throw things. He simply gives one instruction, and everyone freezes. That's what God is doing right now. Not just in your life, but in theirs. One divine instruction. And the entire scene changes. They thought they had time. They thought they had control. But when God enters the scene, time bends, priorities shift, and truth takes center stage. You may not get an apology. You may never hear the whole story of what's unfolding right now. But you will see the results. In the sudden lifting of a weight you didn't realize you were carrying. In the opportunities that start calling your name instead of you chasing them. In the way certain doors, the wrong doors, quietly close without you even touching them. This is God's way of saying, I saw it all, and I'm handling it. And that's why you can rest, not in passivity, not in doing nothing, but in the active trust that your energy is better spent moving forward than looking back. So if you've been wondering why things feel unsettled, even in areas that aren't directly about you, this might be why. The ripple effect of God's intervention touches more than one shore. And when He moves in their life, He's clearing the path in yours. The same God who knew your name before you could even speak it is the same God who knew every moment this would lead to. And now that moment has arrived. You'll know it not by the noise it makes, but by the way peace begins to take root where confusion once lived. You're going to notice something, not in a dramatic explosion, but in the small, almost unexplainable shifts that start to happen around you. A conversation that used to drain you, it suddenly doesn't happen anymore. An obstacle that's been in your way for months, it quietly disappears without you lifting a finger. That's how God works when He's already been in the room before you arrived. He rearranges the furniture of your life so that by the time you walk in, it's already set up for the next chapter. And here's the part I don't want you to miss. When God steps into someone else's life because of what they did to you, it's not just about them learning a lesson. It's about you stepping into a space where their actions no longer have authority over your story. Maybe they tried to limit your name. Maybe they tried to close off opportunities by speaking against you. Maybe they just carried an unspoken resentment that you could feel every time they were around. You thought you were imagining it. But no, your spirit was reading the truth the whole time. And now, that truth is being dealt with directly. Some people never thought twice about the way they treated you. They assumed it wouldn't matter. But in the kingdom, how you treat a chosen one always matters. It sets things in motion, blessings or consequences, and once it's set, heaven follows through. So if you feel a strange calm lately, like something heavy has been lifted but you can't explain why, that's God taking the case out of your hands. You're not meant to keep replaying the moments. You're meant to walk lighter now. Because here's the truth. God is not only adjusting their life, He's adjusting your positioning. Think about it like this. If you've ever played a game of chess, you know the power isn't just in the next move. It's in creating a whole new arrangement where the other side has no choice but to shift their strategy. That's what's happening right now. The board is changing. The places where they used to block you, wide open. The places where they used to overlook you, now lit up like a spotlight. This is where your confidence needs to match God's movement. You can't play small just because you got used to being underestimated. When He clears the path, you're supposed to walk it. And I know, part of you might still wonder, will they ever see it? Will they ever understand what they did? Some will, some won't. But here's the thing. It's not about their recognition. It's about your release. Because when God moves like this, He's not asking for their permission to bless you. He's not even asking for their agreement. He's making sure nothing they've done can follow you into where He's sending you next. And maybe you're listening right now and you're thinking of specific faces. Maybe someone's name popped into your head the moment you started hearing this. That's not an accident. Your spirit knows who this message is touching. But don't linger there too long. The lesson is theirs. The lift is yours. What you have to focus on now is the fact that the weight you've been carrying, the invisible heaviness you couldn't name, is going to keep dissolving in the days ahead. And with it, your clarity will return. Your energy will return. Your joy will stop needing to be forced. Because God isn't just setting the record straight. He's setting you free from the echo of their actions. So here's what I want you to take away from this. The next time you sense that something in your environment has shifted, even if you can't explain it, thank God for the movement you didn't have to make happen. Thank Him that He still walks into rooms you'll never see, to settle matters you'll never have to touch. Because you've spent enough time defending yourself, enough time trying to prove your worth to people who were never assigned to recognize it. Now it's different. Now God is not just showing you who you are, He's showing them who you are. And when He does that, there's no undoing it. So move forward without hesitation. Speak without the fear of being misunderstood. Step into opportunities without wondering who will try to block them. You're in a chapter now where God Himself is enforcing the boundaries, and when heaven draws a line, no one crosses it. And before we finish, I want to share something with you. As a musician, I've started a second channel, Simplified Serenity, with soaking worship instrumentals for prayer, stillness, and deep rest. If you felt peace here today, take it with you into your own quiet time with God. The link's in the description. I'd love to see you there.